Hippocrates peri aeron, hudaton, topon, Chapter 3. Hippocrates, and again we don't really know if Hippocrates himself was the author, Hippocrates itemized in the first two introductory chapters the environmental factors the aspiring itinerant physician needs to study. Hokos de kre hekasta ton pro eremenon skopen kabasanisden ego praso sopeos. I will now explain clearly how each of the forementioned should be investigated and tested. Quomodo autem singula quae diximus scrutar ac explorar oportat denceps dicam manifeste. Chapter 3 begins the detailed treatment of one of the environmental factors, the effects of the prevalent winds in a given city. The treatment is distributed over 4 chapters, one for each cardinal direction, beginning here in Chapter 3 with winds from the south. AWP is notable for its clear writing style and careful exposition. Notice how solicitously the author guides the reader. Of course, the division into numbered chapters is a modern editorial convenience, not a feature of the original publication. He doesn't let you forget what the subject is. Chapter 1, Ietriken hostis bullatai orthos zdeten tada kre poien. Chapter 2, Kai apo tuton kre enthumestai hekasta. Chapter 3, Hokos de kre hekasta ton pro eremenon skopen kai basanisden ego praso sapeos. And notice the progression of actions. Kre poien, kre enthumestai, kre skopen kai basanisden. We say clear writing style, but notice that when referring to what was previously said, the author uses pro eremenon, a form of legen, not grapen, and that he speaks in the first person, praso. It is not impossible, the French editor Jacques Joanna says, that the work was intended to be delivered orally. Notice also that I underlined basanisden, indicating that you've seen this word or its cognate in your Comanian studies. Do you remember where? Well, it depends on how well you studied. In the Janua de Lapidibus, you learned a synonym for basanisden, dokimazden, litoi ludiai ta metala dokimazdomen. But on that slide, you also learned that the Lydian stone is basanite, which comes from hebasanos, for touchstone. Hetis men polis prosta pneumata ketai ta therma, tauta disti metaxutes de kemerines anatoles tu heliu kai ton dusmeon ton kemerinon, tauta ta pneumatasti metaxutes te kemerines anatoles tu heliu kai ton dusmeon ton kemerinon, kai aute tauta ta pneumatasti xunoma ton de apoton arcton pneumaton skepe, te pole ton apoton arcton pneumaton skepe esti, in taute te pole tata hudata pola kai hup aluka ananke enai kai meteora tu menthereos therma tu de kemonos psykra. Whatever city first that lies exposed to the hot winds, these are the winds between the winter rising of the sun and its winter setting, and this city has these winds as prevalent and is sheltered from the winds blowing from the bears, it is necessary, note the cause and effect, ananke, that in this city the waters are both plentiful and somewhat brackish, and near the surface, hot in summer and cold in winter. Quacunque quidem civitas ad ventos sit est calidos, puto autem eos qui inter brumalem solis exortum itidemque occasum perflant, eos qui inter brumalum solus exortum itidemque occasum perflant, huic hiventi sunt peculiares, a septentrionalibus autem ventis tut ac protect et acuitas existit, a septentrionalibus ventis. Aquae vero eius multae et subsalsae sunt, et necessario non sublimes aestate quidem calidae hieme frigidae. Meteora here means the waters rise from a point close to the surface, and therefore are warm in the summer and cold in the winter. This meaning of meteora is best seen by comparing a passage from chapter 7, in which water rising from very deep springs, ek bathutaton pegeon, is cool in summer and warm in winter. Janus Cornarius translated this as non sublimes, and I'm not sure what he meant by that. If something about Cornarius's translation of this passage feels wrong to you, it may be because he was translating from a version of the Greek text with a different syntax. Substantively, his translation conveys accurately the Greek text shown here, but it doesn't flow the same. The local wind exposure affects the human inhabitants indirectly through its effects on their water, but also directly. Tus de anthropus tas kepalas hugras eken kai plegmatodeas. Ananke from the previous clause continues to govern the construction. Tas de koilias auton pugna ektarasestai apotes kepales tu plegmatos epikatareontos tata edea epitopletos autonotera enai, estiend uk agatus enai udepinen. Hokosoi mengar kepalas asteneas ekusin uk an esan agathoi pinen, hegar kraipale malon piesde. And it is necessary in such a city that the heads of the inhabitants are moist and full of phlegm, and that their inner organs are frequently disturbed from the phlegm that runs down into them from the head, and that they generally have a rather flabby physique, and that they are poor eaters and poor drinkers. For men with weak heads will be poor drinkers, as hangovers are more distressing to them. And the discrepancy in Cornarius's version of the Greek text continues, but we pick up, homines capita humida ac pituitos habere par est, et ventres ipsorum frequenter exturbare, pituita a capite influente, et formas ipsorum ut plurimum debiliores esse, ipsosque ad edendum ac bibendum non appositos esse. Nam qui capita debilia habent, non fuerent boni potores, crapula enam magus gravat. Finally, this particular wind exposure brings with it certain local diseases and states of health. Nose matata tada epicoria enai. And it is necessary that there be the following local diseases. Morbi vero hi ipsis vernaculi sunt. Proton men tas gunaikas noseras kai roodeas enai. Epita polas atocus hypo nusu kai upuse titros gestaita pugna. In the first place, the women are unhealthy and subject to excessive vaginal discharges. Then, many are barren, through disease and not by nature, and miscarry frequently. Primum quidem mulieres morbosae ac fluxionibus obnoxiae sunt, deinde multae steriles sunt ex morbo nona natura et frequenter abortuunt. Toi si te paidioisin epipipten spasmusta kai asthmata, kai hanomizdusi to tetheon poien kai hieren nuson enai. And the children are liable to convulsions and asthma, and to what they regard as divine visitations and to be a sacred disease. Cornarius's Latin from a different Greek text, pueris vero incidunt convulsiones ac angelationes, quae morbus puerorum et sacer esse putantur. The text of this clause is problematic. First, as you can see with the conjunctions added as emendations, editors have been uncertain as to how many discrete diseases the author intended to name. Second, for the last disease in the enumeration, the one the Greeks called the sacred disease, there is the reading of most of the manuscript tradition, to paidion, but also a widely accepted emendation, to tetheon. The text we present here is Diller's, but here are some other possibilities. First, Cornarius's source didn't have chi after asthmata, so he associated the sacred diseases with spasmus kai asthmata. The modern editions add the chi and treat the sacred disease as a separate disease. Second, to paidion kai to tetheon. With the emendation to tetheon, the relative pronoun ha is the object, to theon the subject of poiein, and we get those diseases which they think the divine causes and which is the sacred disease. With the manuscript reading, to paidion, the relative pronoun ha is the subject, to paidion the object of poiein, and we get the activities which they think cause to paidion meaning something like the childhood disease par excellence, and there is some evidence in other sources for this meaning of to paidion. What the Greeks referred to as the sacred disease was epilepsy. The Hippocratic corpus includes a work on the sacred disease, peri hieres nosu, which starts out, peri tes hieres nusu kala omenes hod eke, uden timoidoke ton alon theotere enai nuson ude hierotere, ala pusin men eke kai propasin, hoide anthropoi enomisan theonti pregma enai apo aperies kai taumasiotetos hoti uden eoiken heteroisi. I am about to discuss the disease called sacred. It is not, in my opinion, any more divine or more sacred than other diseases. On the contrary, it has a specific nature and cause. But men thought it was something divine out of inexperience with it and astonishment because it didn't at all resemble the other diseases. On grounds of doctrine and style, the sacred disease and AWP are generally thought to be by the same author. They are very important works in the evolution of Greek thought and in the development of medicine as a science that sought rational rather than strictly religious explanations. Here we have, for the first time in AWP, the names of specific diseases. As you might imagine, there is a voluminous literature on what the ancient diseases were, and as fascinating a topic as that is, it is beyond our purposes. The Hayes-Nimis edition has a glossary of medical terms that is a simple start. W.H.S. Jones discusses all the chief diseases mentioned in the Hippocratic corpus in his general introduction to Volume 1 in the Loeb collection of Hippocratic works, the volume that contains AWP. In most cases, I am going to arbitrarily give the English translation of the disease in the Penguin edition and with no further discussion. By the way, if you are a student of Greek and want to leverage it to learn modern medical terminology, which is built up largely from Greek, some Latin, here's the way to go. Dunmore and Fleischer's Medical Terminology, Exercises in Etymology. Returning for a second to the emendation to theon, divine, you actually had this word theon in Comenius. Do you remember it? I didn't underline it because in Comenius it meant something else, namely sulfur, brimstone. Toisi de Andrasi, dysenterias, kai diarrhoeas, kai epialus, kai piretus polychronius chemerinus, kai epinuctidas pollas, kai hemorrhoidas entehedre. Men suffer from dysentery, diarrhea, ague, chronic fevers in winter, pustular diseases that are particularly painful at night, and from anal hemorrhoids. Viris autem dysenteriae et alvi profluvia et febres lenes diuturnae hibernae et pustulae nocturnae multae et hemorrhoides in sede. In such a city, by contrast, certain diseases tend to be absent or milder in their effects. Pleuritides de kai peripneumoniae kai causoi kai hocosa oxea nosemata nomisdontai uk engignontai tapola, ugar hoionta hoku an coeliae hugrae eosi tas nusus tautas iscuen. Ophthalmiae te engignontai hugrae kai ukalapai oligochronioi in meti katasce nosema pankoinon ec metaboles megales. But pleurisy and pneumonia and ardent fevers, and generally whatever diseases are considered acute, rarely occur, for these diseases cannot prevail where the inner constitution is watery. Moist ophthalmia occurs, but is not serious and is of short duration, unless a general epidemic takes place after a violent change, meaning change in the weather. Pleuritides autem et peripneumoniae et febres ardentes et quicunque acuti morbi putantur non multum proveniunt. Non enam fieri potest ut isti morbi vigeant ubi alvi liquidae existunt. Lipitudines vero oboriuntur humidae non graves, nec diuturnae, si non ex mutatione temporum morbus aliquis omnibus communes occupet. The acute diseases, ta oxea nosemata, are those with a high and persistent fever. The Hippocratic corpus has a work, Peridiaetes oxeon, regimen in acute diseases, with the following enumeration. Tauta oxea, hopoia onomasan hoi archaioi pleuritin, kai peripneumonien, kai prenitin, kai causon, kai tala hosa tuton ecomena, hon hoi piretoi toe pipan sunacees. Now the acute diseases are those to which the ancients have given the names of pleurisy, pneumonia, phrenitis, and ardent fever, and such as are akin to these, the fever of which is on the whole continuous. Kai hokotan ta pentekonta eta a hyperbalosi, kat aroi epigenomenoi ec tu encepalu paraplecticus poelsi tus anthropus, hokotan ex aepnes helioteosi tenkepalen e hrigososi. And when men surpass 50 years of age, catarrhs supervening from the brain make them liable to hemiplegia, when they suddenly expose their head to the sun or conversely are chilled. Et ubi quinquagesimum annum transgressi fuerint, defluxiones ex cerebro accedentes homines semisideratos faceunt, ubi caput de repente insolatum aut frigore corruptum fuerit. I underlined Penteconta because when you learned the constellations, you had a thorough workout in Greek and Latin numerals. Tauta men ta nosemata autoisin epicoreasti, coriste enti pankoinon katasce nosema ec metaboles ton horeon kai tutu metekusin. These are the diseases local to them. But apart from this, if any general epidemic strikes because of the change of the seasons, they are liable to this too. atque hi quidem morbi ipsis vernaculi sunt, praeter quam si morbus aliquis omnibus communis ex tempora mutatione oboreatur, nam et huius participes fiunt. Before and well after Hippocrates and the emergence of a medical profession, the Greeks also appealed to the gods for healing. Here, as with everything else, they had a rich mythology, beginning with Hopaion, the physician to the Olympian gods in Homer. Yes, if you remember your Iliad, the gods also suffered wounds and needed healing. They had various cults related to healing, the most famous being that of Asclepius. Sometime after Homer, the epithet Paion was transferred to Apollo the healer, who in turn was the father of Asclepius, who in turn was the father of various offspring, for example, Hygieia and Panacea. Here, for example, is the beginning of the Hippocratic Oath. Horkos, omnuo Apollona ietron, kai Asclepion, kai Hygeian, kai Panacean, kai teus pantas te kai passas, historas poiomenos, epitelea poiesen kata dynamin kai krisin emen, horkon tonda kai xungrapen tenda. As translated by Janus Cornarius, Apollonum medicum et Aesculapium Hygeiamque ac Panaceam juro, deosque omnes itemque deas testes facio me hoc ius jurandum et hanc contestationem conscriptam pro viribus et judicio meo integer servaturum esse. As translated in the Lobe, I swear by Apollo physician, by Asclepius, by health, by Panacea, and by all the gods and goddesses, making them my witnesses, that I will carry out, according to my ability and judgment, this oath and this indenture. You, the aspiring itinerant physician, have now learned the effects on the health of inhabitants of cities with prevalent southerly winds. Please proceed to the next video to learn the same for those inhabitants exposed to prevalent winds from the opposite direction.